let us start our session with Mul Kitab Al-Fatihah.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir-Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Siratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim waladdallin. Amin.
Thank you, everybody. We are blessed today to have a webinar on new normal in offices during COVID-19, how ShaCProW can be used. Let me introduce our panel for today. Firstly, Assistant Professor Dr. Khairul Shakirin Hasjun Hashim. He is a head of consultant at INHAT, and currently he also a lecturer in Department of Quantity Surveying, Kuliah of Architecture and Environmental Design. He has a diploma in Information Technology and diploma in Quantity Surveying, and also bachelor in degree in Quantity Surveying and master in Asset and Facilities Management, and also he has completed his PhD in Facilities Management with the research focus on waste management. Besides teaching in the Department of Quantity Surveying, he is also actively involved in research activities which cover various areas: waste management, facilities management, carbon management, and reading management. He is also actively involved with the society through professional consultancy activities and community-based activities. He is currently a Secretary General for Community Buku Online Malaysia, and also his involvement with CIDB and JKR in carbon management, and has a big impact on the development of carbon rating tool system which will be implemented by the government. Our second panel is Assistant Professor Dr. Muhammad Farid Ali Al-Fijawi. He is an Assistant Professor at Department of Fiqh and Usul Al-Fiqh, Kuliah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences, International Islam University Malaysia. He hails from Fiji Islands, and he obtained his Doctor of Philosophy in Muslim World Issue in 2011 and his Master in Islamic Civilization in 2006 from ISTEC IUM. And currently he is teaching Introduction to Fiqh, Qadaya Fiqhiyah Mu'asirah, Contemporary Fiqh Issues and Islamization of Human Knowledge. His recent work on education leadership is 40 Hadith on Leading the Way, published by IUM Press. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Dr. Shakirin for his presentation. Thank you.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Dr. Hani, for the introduction. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, yes, Doctor.
Okay.
Yes, can hear.
Thank you. Okay, this is the. Can you see the presentation slide?
Yes, sure.
Okay.
Yes.
So what we like to introduce here is the latest product from INHAT, from IUM, called as ShaCProW, for Sharia Compliant and Productive Culture. And for the introduction, just like to explain further on how this initiative, ShaCProW, or Sharia Compliant and Productive Culture, can be used during the new normal or new norms in offices during or post COVID-19. So these are the three basic questions that inshallah we like to try to answer today. What are new norm or new normal in the office environment? How this Sharia compliant and productive work culture or ShaCProW can be used during and post COVID-19 in the office environment, and how to improve the productivity or productive work culture during pandemics, especially during the COVID-19. Okay, I think that's it for now. For the introduction, maybe afterwards we will look at in detail the ShaCProW itself, and what are the new normal or new norms in the office environment, and how this ShaCProW can be used. Okay, back to Dr. Hani.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Shakirin. Then I will invite Dr. Farid for the introduction.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Today, my presentation is going to concentrate on the new norm, the new normal, and also the Maqasid Sharia aspect, the role of Maqasid as a which ShaCProW is using. So see that how of new normal on the three components of workplace. So this will be my approach. So that's all from my side for the introductory remark.
Thank you, Dr. Farid. And then let's start the content of presentation with Dr. Shakirin and followed by Dr. Farid afterwards. But we welcome Dr. Shakirin first. Thank you.
Okay. Few moments. I lost my PowerPoint. Okay, where is it? Okay. Okay, we shall continue with the introduction to ShaCProW. Okay, for your information, ShaCProW or Sharia compliant, productive and work culture is one of the flagship from this university. It is an INHAT-led project. It's not only from INHAT but from the university. It's a cross-discipline, cross-faculty or kuliah. So we work together among us around, I think, more than 30 members to come up with this ShaCProW. Okay, the justification to have this Sharia compliant, productive and work culture. These are the justification from 1 to 7. Okay, for the first stage of ShaCProW implementation in the Islamic higher institution, which means the university. Okay, either in Malaysia or global. Okay, then maybe after implementing this in the university, then we will have ShaCProW in other institutions, other organizations, like in the offices, in the ministry, and so on and so forth. Okay, due to this, the first stage of focusing on the Islamic higher institution, so we like to enlighten and lead the way towards better education process, directing more research and innovation to rebuilding the Muslim community. Okay, and on the creating the awareness on the healthy working environment, implementing Islamic human capital development, and also to break and get out of the cocoon of mediocrity and attitude. All this, number 7. Okay, so these are some challenges and issues that hinder productive work culture. ShaCProW, as we know that it is one of vision of the ShaCProW is to create the more productive work culture in an organization. Okay, these are the challenges during the normal work in a normal offices. Staff do not realize that working as academician, especially in the university, to disseminate knowledge as an amanah. Institutions need to deliberate on staff full responsibilities, how to measure productivity through ShaCProW, lack of unclear prioritization, and so on and so forth. I think you can just read by yourself this one. Okay, on the pandemic cases, this is the latest figure as of 23rd June, yesterday. Okay, confirmed cases is around 9.1 million, almost to 10 million, with 472,000 deaths around the world. And Alhamdulillah, recovering cases is approximately to 5 million. Okay, if you can see in the map here, you can see that most of it in the northern hemisphere, especially during this winter season, last 2 or 3 months ago. Okay, in US, even though it started in China, it's a small version, it's small provinces in Wuhan only, but it is being spread around the world, which include us in Malaysia. So this is the pandemic is real. Okay, and we need to live with this pandemic for not only for few months, but maybe more than a year or maybe 2 years. So it will automatically, we know that it will affect us during our daily life and also during our working environment, especially in the
Excuse
offices.
me, Dr. Shakirin, the slide is
Yes.
not moved.
Not move. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Can you see it? Okay, is it move?
No.
No. Okay, wait. Okay, can you
Yes.
see?
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. No need to go. No need to use the. I think the. So just use this. Is it okay?
Okay.
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 All right.
So what is ShaCProW? So ShaCProW is a rating system. When we're talking about rating system, we need to have these two items or these two equipment or tools. We need to have a scorecard like this. This is a scorecard, and we need to have a guidelines. Okay, the scorecard we have divided into 8 categories in the scorecard: general, human dimension, healthy workplace, physical workplace, process, finance, socialization, and community engagement and research innovation. So these are the 8 categories with total of 60 items. If you can see in this the right hand figure here, all these include every categories we have the items. For example, like general, we have 9 items, human dimension 6, healthy workplace 7, 12, 7, 8, 5, and 6. Altogether, we have 60 items with 239 submittals. So ShaCProW is, as I mentioned, is a rating system, is an auditing. Okay, so we will have our auditors to audit an organization, especially for this first stage. As I mentioned, it is meant for a university, Islamic higher institution. So our auditor will have a discussion with the client or with the organization. Either the what you call that the organization would like to being audited as what? Either it's a ranking. If you can show this, if you can see this, it's not clear. Okay, here, can you see it? Okay, this is the ranking. Either it's a marks. Okay, either it's a pass or makbul, fair, or the best is excellent, 90 to 100%, mumtaz. So it's a rating system with marks provided. Okay, and the underlying principle of our scorecard is by looking at the 5 principles, the Sustainable Development Goal and Maqasid Syariah. Okay, maybe Dr. Farid later on will discuss more on the Maqasid Syariah. Okay, this is the guideline. So every single items means that we have 60 items. So means that we have 60 guidelines. Individual item will have their own guidelines. So the auditor or the client or the organization will have this guideline to be referred. Okay, when we do the auditing. Okay, for example, like this healthy workplace is one of the category. The item, let's say, is availability and implementation of healthy workplace policy. So what is this item trying to get? what are the submittals that organization need to submit, or what are the submittal that auditor would like to look at. So the guideline will give all this overview of individual items in the scorecard. Okay, as I mentioned, the first underlying principle is a maqasid syariah. I will skip this. Dr. Farid will explain it in detail. Then the second underlying principle, we will map it with the Sustainable Development Goals. Okay, we have a 17 SDGs by United Nations. So this rating system, or this scorecard, will based on these SDGs. Okay, and also we have the 5P, the Sustainable Development 5P, people, prosperity, peace, partnership, and planet. So we're mapping individual item with these three underlying principle. Okay. Okay. I think is I stop here first, maybe to give line for Dr. Farid to continue with the maqasid syariah before we continue with the slides. Is it okay, Dr. Ani?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Shakirin. We are, alhamdulillah, on the same platform and same line, because my preparation is, alhamdulillah, not off track. Right, so I will share my slide. Wait a minute. Yes. Why am I this much? No.
Dr. Farid, are you okay? Dr. Farid? I think Dr. Farid's line is not clear. Can Dr. Shakirin continue a little bit while waiting for Dr. Farid?
Okay, I will continue with the slides while waiting for Dr. Farid. Okay, can you see the slides?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so as I mentioned, ShaCProW is a rating system. So we have a scorecard and a guideline. So back to the scorecard. So this is the scorecard. Okay, if you can see all this, you cannot see all this. Okay, so in relation to the topic today, how scorecard, how this ShaCProW can be used during the pandemic or post-pandemic like COVID-19. So I try to map it, okay, like this. So instead of all 8 categories which available in our scorecard for ShaCProW, so in relation to the pandemic or COVID-19, so we found that 4 categories are related to on how we can use this ShaCProW during this pandemic. Okay, the first category is general category. So one of the items in the general category is talking about providing this player place or musola in the organization. Okay, so these are the submitter. For 3 submitters for the players place or musola in the organization. We like to look at the photograph, to submit the photograph of prayer place that is properly located and clean, photograph of ablution facility and musola sign vector, photograph of properly functioning facilities such as certified Qibla direction, air conditioner, fan and shelves. So due to the SOPs provided by JAKIM or Jabatan Agama Islam Negeri JAIN, one of the places that need to be clean and to be sanitized and to obey with all the SOPs, so is the prayer place or musola or surau. So during this time, this a year or 2 years post-pandemic, so we need to make sure that all musola or all suraus that we will be auditing using this ShaCProW is obeying these SOPs. We put here that the prayer place is clean. So it's automatically we know that the sanitization, the SOPs for COVID-19 in surau is in line with this item or the submittal. Okay, so this is the first category or item that related to the pandemic. Okay, the second category is a human dimension. Okay, if you refer back to the scorecard here, human dimension, we have 6 items. Okay, instead of all 6 items can be used during the COVID-19, we found that the item number 5, this autonomy in the workplace, work method, work scheduling, work time, place of work. Okay, we know that during this post-pandemic, most of us is allowed to work in house, in our home, either as we call as a work from home, WFH, or WFO, work from office. So we have option, and it is not only used in Malaysia, but globally, this is a trend right now. Post-pandemic, most of our organization allowing their staff to work from home. So we are talking about this flexible, trust-based working policy. Okay, we are also talking about ongoing revision of this working policy, guideline on flexible working policy, procedure of review improvement of flexible working, and so on and so forth. These are assessment, the policy, other policy guidelines. What I can show here is that even though we are preparing ShaCProW, we are developing ShaCProW before COVID-19, before pandemic last year. This project has been on place, I think, since last year. It's a 1-year project. So, but we think that this is the new working style, not only during or post pandemic, but this is the trend right now or before that we need to be allowed to work at other places. Okay, not only in our workstation like in this traditional working condition like in the office. So this is the trend. Okay, and the pandemic is pushing this trend, moving more fast, and is not the future trend, but the future is now. So we need to allow this kind of working process that is more flexible. So this is being stated in the second category, or the human dimension category. Okay. The next one is the category of a healthy workplace. We have altogether 7 items in healthy workplace. We are talking about the availability and implementation of healthy workplace policy. This is new. I think in Malaysia we don't have yet the healthy workplace policy. We only have the second one, safety and healthy policy. Most of the organizations in Malaysia have their own safety and health policy. But for the healthy workplace policy, it is a new trend, not only in Malaysia, is globally, even though some of the countries, the developed countries, they already have this healthy workplace policy. This healthy workplace policy is more talking about the mental health. It's not on the physical only, but we are talking about the mental health, on how to create the good condition in an organization, in the office environment, in order to create a good mental health. So it is also right now, as I mentioned in the previous slide, so we need to look at in detail on how to create a good mental health if you are working in your home, in our home, because you know that if you work from home, so there is some advantages and disadvantages of working from home. But we need to come up with new types of a policy in terms of working from home. Okay, the item number 3, we are talking about this the availability of a safety and health committee. Most of the organization, they have their own this OSHA committee, and especially in this university, we have our own OSHA committee in every kuliah or in every faculties. Okay, item number 4, ability of counselor. Item number 5, workplace health promotion program, on how to create the activities and to create the healthy workplace. Okay, we need to create this the awareness program, the promotion. Okay, sufficient rest area provided for staff. This is important during the post and pre-pandemic or post-pandemic working condition in the office. Due to the SOPs, pandemic or COVID-19 SOPs, so we need to have this social distancing. So, especially, for example, like in our university right now, in the university in IUM, so if you look at, for example, like in the office area or in the cafeteria, so we need to have this social distancing. So we need to have a good layout plan of the workplace, which include the rest area. Okay, and item number 7 is availability of halal and high nutrition food, which we need to have a good have a halal certification from JAKIM or JAIN, and also we need to have a menu with nutrition food provided in the cafe or in the canteen. Okay, and the last category, we are talking about physical workplace. Okay, one of item that related to our topic today is the implementing of facilities management good practices. I will talk about this in detail after this. I think I give space for Dr. Farid to continue with the presentation. Okay, Nathani?
Okay, okay.
Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Shakirin. I had trouble in sharing my slide, so I'll do it now, inshallah. Okay, so I will read some of the slides because these have been presented and covered by Dr. Shakirin. But this point that what is new normal? This was by Dr. YLM on one of the newspaper, Malaysian newspaper, The Sun, on 21st May. The world has not found a cure for a vaccine for COVID-19. We may have to adjust to a new normal, meaning a new way of living and going about our lives, work and interactions with other people. Now, some of the examples of a new normal is you will see people with the face mask whenever they go out or in public places. Now this has become a new normal. Before we used to see on TV, people in Japan and other countries are wearing, and we were like a little bit feeling awkward. But now we are experiencing this. Work from home, as Dr. Shakirin said. Many of us are working from home, teaching from home. Meetings are no longer physical meetings. We are going for virtual meetings through this Meet and Zoom and other mediums. Schools are now, we are having virtual teaching. Cooking at home a lot for some families. On the other side, some families are having a lot of food delivery. Business now, everything people are buying and selling online, e-businesses. Restaurants with the new seating arrangements and sanitation and cleaning. People coming back from work, shower, change, entering the car, coming out from the car, office, everywhere. You will see sanitizer is provided, a distance from everyone, people especially whom we do not know. We feel we are afraid to approach and meet them because we are afraid that we might get the this COVID-19 temperature checks. So all these are some of the examples of the new normal, which we are now, it is becoming part of our lives. So as Dr. Shakirin said, that our ShaCProW is based on these principles, and you can see here we have the workplace is there, workplace, and then we have SDGs, and the biggest circle is the Maqasid Sharia. This one also I don't have to explain. Dr. Shakirin covered. All right, so I'm now going to the Maqasid Sharia and the workplace. Now, what I did is that I'm looking at the because the ShaCProW, if overarching perspective, if we see, then we are looking at actually the three components of a workplace, right? The nature of the work, the workplace, and then we have the processes. So these three components are normally the component of a workplace. So so now the ShaCProW is actually trying to measure and also provide guideline that these three components all the time are trying to realize or serve the purpose, the objective of the Sharia, the goals of the Sharia. And you can see there, I have provided some definitions. What is meant by Maqasid Sharia? These are the goals of the Sharia and the secrets, asrar, which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed in every legislated ruling. So this is Al-Fasi's definition. And Ar-Raisuni, he is saying that the Maqasid Sharia are the goals which were placed in the Sharia for the purpose of realizing them for the benefit of the worshippers. So here, this point is very important, that Raisuni is saying that realizing for the benefit of the worshippers, because one have to understand all the ahkam, all the rulings which is given to us is actually for the benefit of us, for the human being, and not the other way around. It is not for the benefit of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Na'udhu billah. Right? So we have to understand, even when we are looking at the ibadat, which looks like we are worshipping to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but at the end of the day, the benefit is actually for the human beings. So this have to be kept in mind, right? So scholars have used some other words which are used interchangeably nowadays in the discourse of Maqasid Sharia. For example, masalih, manafi, benefits, right? So Imam Ghazali, he uses the word masalih. So these are the common terms which are used interchangeably for Maqasid Sharia.
I think we have problem with connection. Dr. Farid.
Yes, Dr. Farid had so he might sure have problems with his connection. So perhaps Dr. Shakir, you want to continue anything?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I shall continue with the second phase of my talk today, the new normal in office environment. Okay, as Dr. Farid mentioned, the list of existing new normal, the new SOPs, not only in Malaysia but globally, we are using the same new normal, like social distancing, wearing a mask, and so on and so forth. Okay, just would like to introduce you with the facilities management. Okay, because I know that some of participants today is my students taking this subject, facilities management. Okay, for the sake of knowledge, so just like to introduce the facilities management is not a new body of knowledge. It is being here in Malaysia for I think more than 15 years. It is being practiced in every country globally, in developed and developing countries. Okay, this is the definition by Malaysian Association of Facilities Management. the total management that integrates all services to support the core business of an organization. Why it is important to give an overview of facilities management for your information during the pandemic, during the COVID-19 PKP, during the for 3 months of PKP. FM or facility manager is one of the the frontliners. Okay, frontliners, especially in hospital. Okay, they are the persons, the team, the organization that ensuring all non-core businesses are supporting the core business. Okay, for example, like the hospital, the core business of the hospital is patient care. Okay, doctors, nurses are the core businesses. Okay, to provide the patient care. For the case of pandemic, they are the real frontliners. But in the same time, the facility manager team, the maintenance team, which are supporting the core businesses, are the people behind the scene. In order for the doctors or the nurses to provide a good service during the pandemic, so this team, the facilities management team, need to ensure that all the equipment, all the spaces are maintained properly. Okay, so even though we are not looking at this facilities management as a real frontliners, but they are the real frontliners, but behind the scene. Okay, so that's important to give an overview what the facilities management is all about. Why? Because these are the services that have been provided by the facilities management and how it relates to ShaCProW and COVID-19. Stated here, the FM services can be divided into 3 types of services: the management service, the technical service, and the non-technical service. But for the COVID-19 pandemic, it is under the crisis and disaster recovery plan, general area and facade cleaning, and also the most important thing is the hygiene control services. Okay, if you look at this figure, even though it's not so clear, okay, this is a good example of SOPs which the organization need to ensure that every spaces, every equipment need to be in a good condition, need to be sanitized regularly. Okay, started with doors to wipe, these knobs often and place hand sanitizer, stair railings, elevator buttons, the conference table need to be sanitized regularly, lobby areas, the reception, the counter, the ATM lobby place a hand sanitizer, but I cannot see the practice being a good practice in our ATM. In Malaysia especially, there is no hand sanitizer being located near to the ATM. Maybe some of banks have the sanitizer, but most of the ATM, especially in Gombak, are not being provided with hand sanitizer. Water cooler, the copy stations, these some of example in the new norm for the new norms or new normal in the office environment. So the ShaCProW need to ensure that the organization need to have a good SOP according to the Kementerian Kesihatan or MOH SOPs. Okay, but sometimes it is too much. This is a good example of overreacting. Okay, this is in R&R, the toilet. So if you look at this, what is wrong with this picture or these facilities? This is toilet. Okay, and you see that the X mark here means that you cannot enter this toilet. Every single cubicle need to have a social distancing. But I think it is too much because you know that every toilet have their own wall, individual walls. So automatically it's a social distancing. Okay, this is too much for the SOPs. So sometimes we need to balance this SOP with the reality. Okay, this is another example, a good example of this is the hotel in Penang. I took this picture back in January or February this year before PKP. This hotel, a Sunway Hotel in Penang, so they have a good SOP indicating that, for example, like for this lift being sanitized regularly. Okay, they have a sticker to inform the client or the customer, no worry. Okay, you can just click the button. Okay, because this being sanitized regularly. Okay, how health workers can stay healthy during the COVID-19, pre or post by WH, do and don'ts: wash your hands with soap and water, regularly practice respiratory hygiene in health facilities, especially in the hospital, wear protective equipment. If you develop a dry cough, a fever, or difficulty breathing after you provided care to a COVID-19 patient, report your illness immediately. This is the SOPs in hospital environment. And don'ts: do not touch patient, do not touch your eyes, do not make contact with a known COVID-19 patients, do not ignore symptoms if you develop them. Even though this is the hospital, but you can use these strict SOPs in the hospital in our daily organization spaces or environment. Okay, do I need to continue or give Dr. Farid space?
Oh, if Dr. Farid ready, we can continue with Dr. Farid first. Dr. Farid.
Okay, so I'll continue where I was interrupted. My internet, I think, went off. All right, so I'm sharing again where I stopped. Okay, so now when we talk about Maqasid Sharia, and normally we hear this, that protection, preservation of the daruriyat. So this is actually, there are two dimensions of it. When we say preservation, protection of life, for example, we are supposed to look at these two dimensions. One is acquiring of elements that can sustain the essentials, that can sustain the life, that can sustain religion, lineage, right? So so that means in the ShaCProW, when we are using the ShaCProW to evaluate and measure a workplace, we are looking at what are that a workplace, did they acquire those elements that can sustain. Now, for example, we are talking about the preservation of health. Healthy workplace is part of it. All right. So what are all those elements which are going to achieve this preservation of life and good health? All right. So one is acquiring. The second dimension is prevention of those elements that can eliminate or corrupt the essentials, daf'ul mafasid, right? So that means, for example, in case of COVID-19, we are also going to, ShaCProW can measure that things which are detrimental for health, for example, no sanitizing options provided, or people are not having this distancing, people don't care about cleanness. All these are those elements which can actually make us sick, corrupt our health, right? So when in the Maqasid Sharia, we are also supposed to prevent those type of elements. So both of these dimensions. So in ShaCProW, when we say that it is based on Maqasid Sharia, that means we are looking at these two dimensions as well, right? So and this is very relevant for today, even in the post in COVID-19 situation, very relevant. So that's why we normally, one of the characteristics of the Sharia is that it is comprehensive, it is permanent. All right. So whatever was designed previously, it is relevant yesterday and it is relevant today. Now, when we look at this, the new normal in offices, which is dictated by COVID-19, so normally the new normal is a precautionary measure. So it's a precautionary measure, all right, so to protect oneself against COVID-19. So that means this new normal will have a impact on the three components of the workplace, right? So looking at the nature, one of the component of the workplace is the nature of the work. Now ShaCProW is meant to be applied in educational institutions, Islamic educational institutions. So then what is the nature of the work? What the component of Islamic educational institution is the core business is actually dissemination and generating knowledge. This is the core business of educational institutions, now the nature of this, before it was physical, face-to-face teaching. Now we are moving towards virtual teaching. We are talking about synchronous and asynchronous emergency report teaching and learning, ERTL. All right, so this is the new normal. So the ShaCProW is supposed to and it can, because it is based on Maqasid Sharia, that it is going to guide us when we look at the nature of the work, right? So that means if the Maqasid Sharia is concerned about maslaha in face-to-face teaching, then it is still measuring, and it is still concerned about maslaha in when a teacher is teaching through Zoom or through Meet. All right, so Maqasid Sharia is still there to make sure that this new normal, which is impacting this nature of work, doesn't lead to what do you call losing some of this, for example, amana. All these are still have to be intact. Environment also the second component, facilities and people. So from physical to virtual environment, we are not going to online meetings, facilities now, which many before, because the classes and the activities are normally physical, based on face-to-face classes, so people didn't care about some of the facilities. But now the new normal, it demands universities and educational institutions to have fast internet. Like now, how many times we have been interrupted in this session because of the internet facility. Software, and we can go on with the list. In the environment, people people are also part of it. So lecturers, students, how do these people behave towards each other? Because we have to each other through on online medium, right? So instead of physical space, we are having meeting spaces, virtual meeting spaces. So these are all these new normal because of the COVID-19, and that whether when we are going through this new normal, are we realizing the maqasid of the Sharia, and we and our activities are being measured. We can be measured through this the six essentials. Process, the third component of workplace, recruitment process, quality management tools, staff development process, complaint and report system, dismissal and retirement process. Now, all these are also going to have a great impact. Of course, recruitment process, before we were relying on advertisement, relying on internet, right? So, but now the new normal, we are going fully. Interviews are being held. We know that IUM, even in this COVID-19, when we were in the shutdown period, many of the new staff were interviewed through online interviews. They didn't have to come from their countries to Malaysia for the interview, right? So similarly, complaint and report system, right, and dismissal, retirement, all these are supposed to take place online. People are going to reduce the physical aspect of this. So how do a education institution behave? Do we treat traditional telephone call and an email to our account? Do we treat these two things in the same manner? Or we are still behaving like the third world country setting, that we only move when someone talks to us or when someone calls us, right? So these are the challenges, and ShaCProW can measure, right, that how in the process, like how many times we replying the email of our stakeholders, of our students, of our important emails. Are we replying it on time, or we are just leaving it there in our account and we open the email once a month, right? So all these have to be will be measured through ShaCProW. ShaCProW with the Maqasid Sharia indicators assures that these changes, because of the new normal, will save maslaha. ShaCProW with, right, so it will of the people through the components of the workplace, higher objectives such as mercy, rahmah, amana, justice. It will assure that these are all upheld and saved, right? So this is the gist of my part, the maqasid part of my presentation. Back to you, moderator.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Farid, for your presentation. For all, if you have any questions, you can ask after this, or you may also put in the chat room. Okay, next I will continue with Dr. Shakirin. Dr. Shakirin, want to add anything?
Okay. Wait a minute. Cannot see the. Okay. Wait. Wait a few minutes. Okay, can you see the slide? No, not yet.
No, not yet.
I think a have a problem with the slides.
Yeah, for information, both Dr. Shakirin and Dr. Farid are working closely on the Sharia compliant and productivity work culture, ShaCProW, which is an in-hard lab flagship project. Okay, so Dr. Shakirin is in charge on the technical part and Dr. Farid on the Maqasid Sharia aspect.
Can you see the slides?
Yes, you are presenting.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you see the slide?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Just to continue a few slides more. So these are the risk management. Okay. In ShaCProW also we need to have a risk management practices. This is during COVID-19 provided by this ABS group. I take it. This is one of the example, a good of risk management on how to assess and manage risk during COVID-19 or post COVID-19 in a workplace or in the office. Okay, we need to establish the objective, analyze the risk, then select new controls, implement and monitor. So this is one of the example. And for our Kementerian or Ministry of Health, also they have their own risk management, and therefore they are providing the SOPs from this risk management. So in ShaCProW also we want this risk management in place. So it is under the category of healthy workplace. One of the tasks for the health and safety officers committee. Okay, and then these are the examples of SOPs provided by the Ministry of Health, either in-house or in the office, on how to sanitize by using all these equipment and material. Okay, or in surau, or in musola, or in masjid. So the last point here is just like to share with you as I mentioned, that this is a new trend. The future is now that we need to work from home. So several studies, if you refer to some of the journals about this remote working or working from home, especially during this pandemic, indicated that employees are more productive than ever. Okay, why? Because some of it because of lack of office-based distraction. So we don't have the distraction in the offices. Like sometimes we have meetings. How many meetings in a day? Maybe 3 to 5 meetings a day. Meddling with the middle management, renewed focus on business critical activities, and so on and so forth. So when working from home, so we are working from using this internet platform, either this Google Meet or other types of platform. So we are focusing more on the job activities. Okay, so in the future, businesses will be expected to have flexible working policies in place. As I mentioned before in the previous slides, we have stated this clearly in our ShaCProW. Okay, we would like to have a more flexible working policies. We can work from home, we can work from other places. Okay, this is as I mentioned, future is now. Okay, with remote working, leveling workplace hierarchies, and speeding up operation in some instances, companies may rethink the organization structures they have right now in place. So due to the flexible working policies, as I mentioned, working from other places, not only in the workstation, like the current situation like this today. So therefore, the companies will maybe to reorganize the organization structure. So this will be a very, I think, a big changes after this means that the post-COVID-19 pandemic. So inshallah, ShaCProW is as a conclusion, ShaCProW is as I mentioned, is a rating system. So we designed the ShaCProW is more flexible, not only before pandemic like COVID-19 or post pandemic like COVID-19, but maybe afterwards, a year after this, maybe we will have another types of pandemic that we need to to be more flexible with our daily life. So ShaCProW, as I mentioned, is a flexible tools that can be used either in any types of condition, inshallah. So that's it from me. Thank you, Dr. Back to the moderator.
Alhamdulillah, thank you, Dr. Shakirin and Dr. Farid for your well presentation. Okay, so I have one question from Sister Ahda Ahmad Syukur. Question is for Dr. Shakirin. There are two questions. Firstly, how ShaCProW is used, example in higher institution, and when it is normally used. Okay, the second question is MAFM have similar concept to total quality management? That's all.
Okay, to answer Sister Ahda questions, how ShaCProW is used, example in the higher institution and when it is normally used. So ShaCProW, as I mentioned, is a rating system. Okay, it's just like normally we are talking about ISO certification, you are talking about quality management. So ISO is the alternative of it. Okay, and it is not mandatory. It is according to the needs of the client or of the organization. If they want to be certified, if they want to be audited by our rating system, so we are giving these services. Okay, this is a type, as I mentioned, is a like ISO certification is a quality management certification, but we are giving more flexibility to the organization in terms of how many stars they want, what level they want. Either it's a just beginner, or you want to have to be a very good organization. So we give the flexibility for that. The second question is MAFM have similar concept to TQM? Okay, MAFM is a association, Malaysia Association of Facilities Managers, MAFM. Okay, and TQM is type of quality management system. It's a total quality management system. So MAFM is a professional body. It is meant for facilities managers to be in an organization like that. It is an association for facilities managers. So facilities managers, as I mentioned, is a professional which are managing and maintaining a building or spaces. So TQM is a tools in order to create to get a good quality in an organization. So this is one type of TQM is one of the quality management system. So in the case of facilities management, so FM or facility manager need to implement TQM or other types of quality management system in order to get a good quality services. So I think this is a maybe Sister Ahda ini confused with the term. And AFM is not a tool. It's an organization. It's a professional association for facility manager. Okay. Okay, Dr. Ani.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Shakirin. We have another question from Brother Salihin Hussein. According to Director General of Health Malaysia, Dr. Nur Hisham, people are mentally affected by the COVID-19 and the post-pandemic. This includes employees at workplace. Should the presence of counselling or physiotherapy unit will be listed in the scorecard?
Who want to answer, Dr. Farid or me? Maybe I can answer first. Maybe Dr. Farid can have the answer. Yes, as I mentioned, it is one of the item in our scorecard, in our category. The organization need to provide these counsellors Okay, not only in the case of the university, we know that students have the counselor. Especially in our university, IUM, we have the counselor team. But for the staff, for the employee, also we need to have the counselor. Not only during the COVID-19 or post COVID-19. The counselor should be in an organization. Okay, they will help us to manage the mental health of the employees. Okay, yes, to answer Brother Salihin question, yes, we have this the presence of counselor in our scorecard.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Shakirin. Perhaps Dr. Farid want to add more on the question?
Yes, so I'll just shed some light from the Maqasid perspective. When we talk about preservation of aql, intellect, we are actually talking about both the physical aspect of the mental health as well. So that means we are looking at those two dimensions. Those dimensions which are actually helping us to achieve good mental well-being. So that means a workplace should be having all those elements which can improve the mental well-being of a employee or of the employer as well. In our case, the students, the supporting staff, lecturers, all these are the people. And the other dimension, when we say Daf'ul Mafasid, prevent or eliminate all those elements which are going to create what you call this mental corruption, or it will make people mentally unhealthy. So all those elements, this is also part of the ShaCProW, that it will measure that a university, a institution, are they trying to eliminate those elements which are corrupting and which are leading to mental what you call health situation. Right? So this is from the Maqasid Sharia perspective.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Dr. Farid. Okay, we have a few questions. I think it's for Dr. Shakirin. One is from Sister Adila Zulkifli. I'm sorry if the presenter already present about this. I would like to know again, is the ShaCProW is already implemented? Okay, the second one from Sister Suhana Sabarudin. Do you provide the consultancy service to implement this guideline?
Okay, thank you. Sister Adila, ShaCProW, we just finishing the development of ShaCProW. Okay, it's fresh from the oven. Okay, so the implementation is not yet, but it has gone through the simulation. We tried to implement ShaCProW in HUT, and then the next step is to implement ShaCProW in the university, in IUM, in the International Islamic University. So maybe by this year, insyaAllah, we will go maybe masuk gear 5 lah to implement this ShaCProW. Okay, to answer Sister Suhana, do you provide the consulting service to implement this guideline or this system? Yes, of course. Yes. We have some for information. We get some demand from India to implement ShaCProW, not only in their universities but also in their tahfiz schools in India. Okay, and also we got some demand from our tahfiz schools in Malaysia. So yes, we are able to provide the services for this. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Shakirin. Is there any question from the floor? You can also raise your voice to ask the questions.
Doctor, there is another one question at the chat.
Yeah, Brother Siddiq Azam.
Brother Sidi Azam, okay. May I ask a bit detail on the methodology part of rating? You mentioned 6 dimension with a total maximum score of 220. Then the final rating is good, fair, and etc. Like this, which is based on a range of score the participant achieve, I believe. I am curious to know what method you have adopted for the calculation of rating. Is it possible to get the slide of your part? I think this is for Dr. Shakirin.
Okay. For your information, yes, we have the methodology on how to get this rating or ranking. Okay, if you can share previous slides. Okay, just to show the where is it the can you see it? The scorecard here. Can you see it? The slides, Rotani?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So as I mentioned, okay, this is the score system. Okay, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. Yes, we have the methodology on how to get this and how to get all these numbers. Okay, for information, where is it? This one. Okay, it is a scoring system. Our scorecard is a scoring system. Sekejap ya. Tak boleh ni pula. Okay. It's a scoring system. This is a score. This is the score given, the maximum score given. Okay, let's say to provide player place or musola. So we give them 15 marks for it. On how to get this 50 marks? This is secret recipe. Okay, lawak ya. It's not secret recipe. We have a methodology. Okay, it's based on the submission, the submittal, the documents that we need. As I show you this, the previous, the next slide like this. Where is it? This one. Okay, this is individual category. Let's say it's to provide the prayer place or musola. So we have 3 submittals, and every submittals we give 5 maximum marks. Okay, if the organization or the auditor auditing this the organization, so the auditor need this photograph of prayer place. Even though it's a very simple, it's only a photography, it's only a photograph, but in order to get a good photograph of this prayer place, that prayer place or the musola need to be properly located and clean. So that's the point. On how we get this 5, it is based on the maqasid syariah. Okay, this one. Okay, if you look at this column, if we can share with you the table here. Okay, this is the table of maqasid syariah. As Dr. Farid mentioned, we have 5 plus 1. What you call that, Dr. Farid? This maslahah or the maqasid components: din, nafs, akal, nafs, mal, and dignity. Okay, 5 plus 1. So we table it with the we metric it with the maslahah, daruriyat, hajiyat, and tasniyat. So we have these color figures. Okay, red, green, and blue. Okay, yang red ni ialah is a prime unit, it's daruriyat. We give maximum 5. The index is 5, 3, and 1. Okay, so means that we give 5 means that it is very, very important. Then we times it with how many submittals. Therefore, we have these total marks of individual items like this. Okay, so this is to answer Brother Siddiq question. Yes, we have the methodology on how we do the rating and how we get these maximum points. So just to conclude that the scorecard like this. So the left hand side of this scorecard, this is meant for the auditor to give marks. Okay, this is the maximum point given in the scorecard. Okay, so in conclusion like this, so the total mark is 1082. So let's say this organization have the total marks of 182 is 100%. So if you look at this box, 100% means that it's a Mumtaz ranking. Okay, or according to the levels: pass, fair, good, very good, and excellent. Okay, to answer Brother Siddiq, yes, we have the methodology. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Shakirin. We have last questions from Brother Megzani. Assalamualaikum. Will ShaCProW be available and adopted outside of IIUM institution or countries? If so, why they should adopt ShaCProW from INHAT? I think this last question can be taken both Dr. Shakirin and Dr. Farid.
Okay, Dr. Farid first.
Please, Dr. Farid.
Now, can I know the question again, please?
Will ShaCProW be available and adopted outside of IIUM for institution or countries? If so, why they should adopt ShaCProW from INHAT?
Okay, so because I'm also one of the outsider from KIRKHS and working with INHAT. So this is the creativity of INHAT to come up with a mechanism which can measure, right? So and I think we are the first one. INHAT is the first one to come up with something like this. And this is not the first time. Before this, they have also they came up with a mechanism of measuring Muslim-friendly hotel, quite successful, right? So we should be actually that our university, this institution in our university is coming up with this quantitative tools. So that it can help the Muslim community outside there. So I think we will do experiments inside the campus first. We are going to try to, Dr. Shakri mentioned, our kuliah itself, KRKHS is going to, will be using ShaCProW to evaluate and rank them, also Quantum. Once we are, and then this is also like we are in the process, we still need to perfect it. So it's better before we go outside, we do the experiment inside and really make it viable and strong from all dimensions, and then we go out. So that's all from my side.
Thank you, Dr. Farid. How about Dr. Shakirin?
Okay, to answer your question, brother, I think, Khazani, yes, it will be available and adopted outside the university. As this is our target. We target this ShaCProW rating system will be implemented not only in Malaysia, but in other Islamic higher education institutions globally. So we have identified 472 universities from the Islamic higher education institution. Okay, so we are targeting big picture, not only the university, IUM, not only in Malaysia, but other places. Yes. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Shakirin. With that, I would like to have both Dr. Shakirin and Dr. Farid to have a conclusion, a few words of the conclusion for both their presentation.
Okay.
We welcome Dr. Farid first, perhaps.
Yeah, Dr. Farid.
Okay. Yeah. So I will just I would like to conclude with this point that the reason why we are using the Riyadh Khamsa +1, the dignity, is because this is what is agreed upon among the scholars. So it is good to use something which is agreed upon by the scholars, to use it as a measuring tool. But in future, if some scholars will come up with some additional essentials, if they discover, then it will be also included and improved. So this maqasid business is sometimes people become quite what do you call, like there are only 5 and not beyond that. No, that is not the case. We have many other. For example, we have higher objectives. For example, what are the universities supposed to achieve? Right. So we have this umbrella concept, which we are calling it mercy, rahmatan lil alameen. So these 5 measuring the 5 plus 1 6 essentials are supposed to lead to that higher objective, which is mercy. All right. So similarly, we have amana, we have adala, justice, which are also very important. Last time someone asked Sheikh Raisuni, how do akhlaq and character ethics play a role in this maqasid discourse? And then he answered that actually the ethics, the Islamic ethics I'm talking about, are itself maqasid. They itself are goals of the Sharia. Right, so all these are slowly going to be included and improved. So that means the ShaCProW, which we are having now, is the first edition, and as we go forward, we are going to include all this because sometimes we don't talk. For example, nowadays in COVID-19, how amana plays role. So in future, might be we'll have to come up with some additional mechanism to measure amana or to measure justice. So this is my last comment, that this is a ongoing project, and we will inshallah work together, and with these comments from the stakeholders who is going to use ShaCProW, when they are going to give us feedback, basing on that, we are going to also improve. That's all from my side. Thank you very much.
Thank you to Dr. Farid. Okay, we have last question, and after that, maybe Dr. Shakirin can proceed to further conclusion. Okay, last questions for Dr. Shakirin. How can I volunteer to be part of ShaCProW? From Brother Faiz Fauzi.
Okay, thank you, Brother Faiz. I've answered your question through the chat room. You can contact me through email if you are interested to be one of the auditors. We would like to train the auditors afterwards. That's our next step. Okay, so as I mentioned, we're not talking about only this university, we're talking about more than 400 universities around the world. So it means that we need to have lots of auditors. So we need to audit. We need to train the auditors. So that's I think you can be part of the ShaCProW team afterwards. Okay, as a conclusion, Dr. Ani, okay, ditto means that same as what Dr. Farid mentioned. This is our first stage of ShaCProW development. There will be second stages, second stage, third stage, and so on and so forth. There will be second edition and third edition, and so on and so forth. Just like to conclude with that, behind the scenes, why we want to have this ShaCProW is because that for me, myself personally, I think that most of, I think we have learned from our ustads previously during our childhood or during the early part of our adulthood, that selalunya orang cakap apa, bekerja itu adalah ibadah, isn't it? So, but what are the steps? what are the stages, what are the implementation part of it. We know that working is a ibadah, but on how we want to implement it, on how we want to do it. Okay, so ShaCPro, hopefully, as Dr. Farid mentioned, working is one of the ibadah, is a types of ibadah. So by providing ShaCPro, hopefully that organisation can implement it according to the maqasid. InsyaAllah, dengan redha Allah, insyaAllah apa yang kita buat ni akan diterima as a ibadah. So that's I think the philosophy of having ShaCPro in an organisation like this. Okay, so I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much for Dr. Shakirin and Dr. Farid Ali for the wonderful presentation. And I hope that all audience are very satisfied with their presentation and acknowledge with what is the ShaCPro. So with that, we pray for the success of the implementation of the ShaCPro and hope that it will benefit to the other institution and country as well. With that, I would like to close the thank you to everyone, the audience and also the speaker, and we shall close our session today with Tasbih Kafarah and Surah Al-As. Thank you again.
Okay, Assalamualaikum.